Good afternoon and welcome. Uh, this meeting is being conducted in person and via WebEx with the assistance of Solid. My name is Dan Jacobson, and I'm the chair of the California Board of Accountancy's Legislative Committee. This is the first in-person meeting since January of 2020. And of course, I'm not there. Sorry about that. I am looking forward to seeing you in 2 months. Since we have some CBA members uh, and members of the of the public participating in person and via WebEx, I would like to describe how I plan to take comments or questions. When I open discussion uh, up for members' comments, I will ask if any CBA members would like to make any comments. If so, please raise your hand and wait to speak until I call upon you. For public comment, I will ask if any members of the public attending in Sacramento would like to make a comment. If so, please step up to the table, wait to be recognized. Once any comments from the members of the public attending in Sacramento are received, I will ask the moderator to open the lines for any members of the public participating at alternate notice locations or via WebEx. 5 minutes will be allotted to each individual providing public comments. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Rebecca Reed to take roll and establish a quorum. When Ms. Reed calls your name, unmute your microphone, state your name, and please remember to mute your microphone once you've done stating your name.
Dan Jacobson,
Dan Jacobson here.
Carrie Ann Farrell Hines,
Carrie Ann Farrell Hines, present.
Christian Lotta,
Christian Lotta.
Katrina Salazar,
Katrina Salazar, present.
and Yen Tu.
Yen Tu, present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Lotta, thank you for pronouncing your name. I wanted to make sure that I know how to pronounce it, and I want to extend a special welcome to the committee. And as this is your first appearance here, and a special welcome to your committee. This is your committee. Welcome. The CBA's mission is to protect consumers by ensuring only qualified licensees practice public accountancy in accordance with established professional standards. This mission is derived from the statutory requirement that protection of the public shall be the highest priority for the California Board of Accountancy in exercising its licensing, regulatory, and disciplinary functions. Whenever the protection of the public is inconsistent with other interests sought to be promoted, the protection of the public shall be paramount. I would like to remind committee members and others speaking during the meeting to please speak up if you wish to make a motion, ask a question, or make a comment. So the first item is public comments. At this time, we will start with that item, and this is for public comments for items that are not on today's agenda. So I will now open for public comment. Is there anybody at the Sacramento location that would like to make a comment? Anyone from the public? If so, please step up to the table and wait to be recognized.
No one is here.
All right, then we'll move on. Moderator, please open it up for public comment for those who are not at the Sacramento location.
This is the moderator. I've opened up the Q&A on WebEx. The instructions are on the screen for your reference. First, click on the Q&A icon, which is typically located at the bottom right corner of your WebEx screen. Type comment in the text field and click Send to all panelists. You can also raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon next to your name. And for those who have called in, you can raise your hand by pressing *3. So at this moment, I do not see any hands up and I do not have any requests for public comment via the Q&A. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Please. We'll move on to agenda item 2, which is approval of the March 24, 2022 Legislative Committee minutes. If any member would like to make a motion to approve the minutes, then please do so.
And this is Yen Tu. I will make the motion to approve the minutes.
Yen has made a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
This is Carrie Ann Farrell Hines. I'll second the motion.
Carrie Ann, thank you very much. There's been a motion and a second is to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Ms. Reed, will you please call the roll? No.
And public comment.
Let's first have see if there's any public comment. If there's anyone at the Sacramento location that would like to make a comment, please step up to the table and wait to be recognized.
No one in Sacramento location.
Thank you. Moderator, there are no members of the public at the Sacramento location that wish to make a comment. Will you please open up the public comment for those who aren't there?
Yes, this is the moderator. I've opened up the Q&A on WebEx. For those participating on or via WebEx, you can click on the question mark icon, type comments, send to all panelists, or you can raise your hand by clicking the icon next to your name. Those who are calling in, *3 to raise your hand. No requests submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A?
Please do so. Thank you. Agenda item 3 is the California Board of Accountancy 2022.
Mr. Jacobson?
Yes.
I'm sorry, we need to have the Ms. Reed call the vote for the minutes.
So right. Ms. Reed,
Thank you.
please call for a vote on the minutes.
Dan Jacobson,
Yes.
Carrie Ann Farrell Hines,
Yes.
Christian Latta,
Abstain, not present.
Katrina Salazar,
Yes.
and Yen Tu.
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Thank you very much. And I apologize to all of you. Agenda item 3 is the 2022 legislative tracking chart. This is a written report only. There's really no need there's no presentation. But does anyone have any questions of staff or anyone else about this?
One here that have raised their hand.
No one has raised their hands?
No, there's no
All
one
right.
raised their hand.
Then we'll move to the public. Is there anyone in Sacramento who has a comment on this item? If so, please move up to the table and wait to be recognized.
We have no public comment from the Sacramento location.
Thank you, Ian. Moderator, will you please open it up to those who aren't in Sacramento?
The Q&A is now open on WebEx. If you would like to participate, you can send comments to all panelists or raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon next to your name. Callers, you can press *3. No requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A?
Please do so. We'll then move on to agenda item 4. And this is the update, discussion, and possible action on legislation, which the CBA has already taken a position on. Mr. Ibarra, will you please step forward and give a presentation about this?
Thank you, Chair Jacobson. Good afternoon, members of the Legislative Committee. I'm Patrick Ibarra, Information and Planning Officer with the CBA. I'll begin with item 4A, Assembly Bill 646 by Assemblymember Lowe regarding Department of Consumer Affairs Board's expunged convictions. This bill would require a licensing board under the Department of Consumer Affairs, including the California Board of Accountancy, to update information on its online license search system regarding licensees who have had their licenses revoked due to criminal convictions that are subsequently expunged. Staff have identified several concerns with the bill as drafted and conveyed this information to the author's office in an effort to either obtain clarity or possible amendments. The author's office requested staff compile the specific amendments and concerns for their review, which they indicated may not occur until June. AB 646 is in the Senate Business, Profession, and Economic Development Committee with the hearing date not yet set. Following the adoption of the CBA's oppose unless amended position in March, the CBA issued a letter to the author requesting amendments to address implementation issues identified in our analysis. Staff recommend the CBA maintain its oppose unless amended position on this bill as it hasn't been amended and no action is necessary. I'll now turn it back over to the chair, but we are available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it's no secret that I support this bill, but as in my position as chair, I think it's best to keep an even keel as to where we were and to maintain our position. Does anyone have any disagreement with that?
No hand raised on the committee.
Yes.
No hand raised from the committee members.
Thank you very much. Public comment. Is there anyone at the Sacramento location who would like to make a from the public who would like to make a comment? If so, please step up to the table, wait to be recognized, and make your comment.
No public from Sacramento location.
Thank you. Will the moderator please open it up to the folks who aren't in Sacramento?
This is the moderator. For the members of the public participating via WebEx, the Q&A is now open. The instructions will be on your screen in just a moment. If you would like to participate, click on that question mark, type comments, send to all panelists, or you can raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon. Those who have called in can press *3. No requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Please, and thank you very much. Moving on to item 4C, Assembly Bill 16.
Dan, I'm sorry to interrupt. We're actually on B, not C.
Well, thank you. Yes, 4B, Assembly Bill 1604. May we have the presentation, please?
Thank you. Since the last CBA meeting, this bill has been amended to recast some provisions of the bill and to create an exemption for the addition of a volunteer member from an underrepresented community to a state board or commission with regard to public employment, public education, or public contracting. AB 1604 was heard in the Assembly Appropriations Committee today, actually, and passed. It now heads to the Senate. Staff recommend maintaining a watch position on this bill, and no action is required. I'll now turn it back over to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any comments from the committee?
I do not see any comment or raised hand from the committee members.
Thank you. I have a comment. Um, in Los Angeles the other day, a trial court in a case called Crest et al. Versus Padilla struck down California's law requiring a certain number of women on corporate boards. That used to be SB 826. Struck it down as an unconstitutional violation of state law. In a similarly named case, Crest versus Padilla, last month, the law requiring a certain number of unrepresented groups to be on corporate boards was struck down. Now, is this going to be different because these are public boards and commissions and that sort of thing? I tend to think not. On the other hand, these are trial courts. We'll have to see if someone appeals and see what happens at the Court of Appeal. I just wanted to mention that we're going to have two other bills that come up that are similar in flavor, and so we'll move on.
Chair Jacobson,
Yes.
if I may, given the fact that this bill and the others, I think, are we're only recommended to watch the bills, is it really necessary for us to opine on them or to have any real discussion about them unless there's something from staff, indicating that we should do something otherwise?
Yeah, if one of us knows something that might change an opinion or something like that, I think it might be.
Well, I'm suggesting, though, that given it's a watch position, unless the change is to really strongly put us into taking a position of support or oppose, it just seems like it's not necessary for us to get too far into a discussion of the item.
Yeah, and I'm moving on now, and watch maybe the place where we want to end up on all three, because of it's a neutral position, if you will. Moving on.
Legal, if I may.
I'm sorry.
I said this is legal, if I may.
Thank you, Helen.
I would like to note for the committee that this is interesting information, so I will definitely look into it myself and advise CBA and or the committee if there is anything that DCA itself would like to consider on this bill.
Helen, I'll email you the case numbers.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Moving on to agenda item 4C, and that's
Again, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you open up to public in Sacramento and then
is there
virtual?
anyone in Sacramento from the public who would like to make a comment on the last item? If so, please step up to the table, wait to be recognized, and then make your comment.
I do not see any public in Sacramento.
Thank you very much. Moderator, will you please open it up to the people who aren't at the Sacramento location?
I've opened up the Q&A WebEx. Members of the public on WebEx, if you would like to participate, the instructions are on the screen. Click on the question mark inside of a square. Submit comment to all panelists. If you would rather raise your hand, click on that hand icon next to your name. Callers, please press *3 if you would like to participate. No requests. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Please. Now, barreling forward to an item that I seem to want to talk about. I don't know what. 4C, Assembly Bill 1662. May we have the presentation?
Thank you. Assembly Bill 1662, which was amended on April 27th of this year, would require boards within the Department of Consumer Affairs to establish a process by which prospective applicants may request a pre-application determination as to whether their criminal history could be cause for denial of a completed application for licensure by the board pursuant to Business and Professions Section 480. The CBA may require a prospective applicant to furnish a full set of fingerprints for purposes of conducting a criminal history record check as part of a pre-application determination. Upon making a determination, a board shall provide the prospective applicant with some specific information. Also, boards may charge a fee to a prospective applicant in an amount not to exceed the lesser of $50 or the reasonable cost of administering this determination process. Currently, the CBA does not provide a definitive answer to individuals who contact the CBA regarding potential impacts a criminal conviction may have on their respective ability to get licensed, because it is limited to reviewing only the information as submitted by applicants. If applicants fail to disclose all information or do not provide all relevant details, the CBA's review is significantly limited. Further, with limited information, the CBA could not perform an appropriate investigation to provide a more definitive answer. The formalized process required under this bill would oblige the CBA to adopt regulations and develop tracking methods, procedures, and various website content. Depending on the volume, it may require diverting staff to process part of the work. AB 1662 was heard in the Assembly Appropriations Committee today, and it passed. Staff recommend the CBA maintain its watch position on this bill, and no action is necessary. I will now turn it back over to the chair.
Thank you very much. Are there any comments or questions or motions from the committee?
I do not see any comment from the members.
Thank you so much. Does any member of the public wish to make any comment on this issue? If so, please step up to the table, wait to be recognized, and make your comment.
There is no public comment from Sacramento location.
Thank you. Moderator, will you please open this up for public comment for those who are not at the Sacramento location?
This is the moderator. The Q&A is now open. Instructions will be on the screen shortly. If you would like to participate, click that question mark, type comment, send to all panelists. You can also raise your hand, click on the hand icon next to your name. Call-in users, you can press *3. I do have call-in user 8. I'm going to submit a request to unmute your line, and I'm going to prepare my timer here for 5 minutes, and I'll give you a 30-second warning.
Hi, committee. My name is Corey Johnson. I'm a senior policy analyst at the Council of State Governments Justice Center, and we've been working and providing technical assistance to Assemblymember Gibson for this Fair Chance Licensing Initiative. This is something that we strongly support just from a technical perspective. We have about 30 states that have implemented some form of our best practices. We have about 13 best practices. Can the committee still hear me?
We could hear you just now.
Okay. Did you hear any of what I just said, or because the WebEx kind of cut me off on the phone?
The last word we heard was support.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'll try to pick up where I left off, and I won't talk for too long. But we've been working with Assemblymember Gibson just to make sure this is more of like a procedural safeguard so that folks or individuals that do have criminal records, that they have the ability to find out prior to their investment and an occupational license, whether they actually could qualify for the license or not based on their criminal record. It wouldn't require like a whole additional process. Rather, it just changes the time frame for when that process would happen, as opposed to doing the process on the back end. They would have access to doing it on the front end. And I invite any questions or concerns. I can provide my email if that's helpful. It's kjohnson@csg.org if people have any individual concerns.
Well, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Johnson? All right.
Not see any questions.
Thank you very much. And I think we'll just move on to 4D.
Dan, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we need actually, I beg your pardon. I jumped the gun.
You know what? It's perfectly natural for you to think that I screwed up. So it's quite all right to come in. Save it for the next one. I'll screw up something on the next one. Agenda item 4D, Assembly Bill 1733. May we please have the presentation?
Thank you. Assembly Bill 1733 would permit state bodies to meet via teleconference. It permits state body members to participate either remotely or in person, and requires state bodies to permit members of the public to directly address the state body during a teleconference meeting. This bill has not been amended since the March meeting. While the bill failed to pass the stated policy committee deadline, this is an urgency bill, and under Assembly rules is exempt from certain deadlines. Therefore, discussions are ongoing. Staff recommend the CBA maintain its support position on this bill, and no action is necessary. I'll now turn it back over to the chair.
Very good. Are there any comments, questions, or motions from the committee?
I do not see any comment or suggest.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the public or they're in Sacramento? If so, please step up to the table and wait to be recognized. Give me a comment.
There is no public comment from Sacramento location.
Thank you. Moderator, will you please open it up and allow those who are not at the Sacramento location to give a public comment?
Yes, this is the moderator. For those participating via WebEx, the Q&A is now open. The instructions are on the screen. Simply click the question mark, type comments, send to all panelists. You can also raise your hand by clicking on the icon next to your name. Calling users, just press *3 to raise your hand. No requests. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Please do so. We'll move on to 4E, and that's Assembly Bill 1795. May we please have the presentation?
Assembly Bill 1795 would have also addressed open meetings, but it is much narrower in scope, requiring state bodies who conduct meetings in accordance with the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act to permit all persons to participate in person and remotely, which is defined as a location other than the physical location designated on the agenda, via electronic communication. Following the adoption of CBA's support if amended position, the CBA issued a letter to the author requesting amendments to more closely align this bill with the provisions in the Governor's Executive Order N-122. This bill has not been amended since the March meeting. The bill failed to pass the stated policy committee deadline and is not moving forward. Staff recommend the CBA maintain its support if amended position on this bill, and no action is necessary. I'll now turn it back over to the chair.
Thank you. Are there any members of the committee who have any comments, motions, anything?
I do not see any member raising their hands.
Thank you. Then we'll ask the public in the Sacramento location if any member of the public has any comment. Please step up to the table, wait to be recognized, and give your comment.
I do not see any public in Sacramento location.
Thank you very much. Moderator, will you please open up this for public comment for those who are not at the Sacramento location?
This is the moderator. The Q&A is now open. The instructions are on the screen. If you would like to participate, click on the question mark, type comment, send to all panelists, or raise your hand by clicking on the icon next to your name. Calling users, just press *3. No request. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Please do so. Moving on to agenda item 4F, Senate Bill 1765. May we have the presentation, please?
Dan, may I just make a correction? The bill is 1365.
Oh, I thought that's what I said. Thank you very much. 1365.
Thank you. AB 1365 would require licensing boards within the Department of Consumer Affairs to post on its internet website a list of criteria used to evaluate applicants with criminal convictions, so that potential applicants for licensure may better be informed about their possibilities for gaining licensure before investing time and resources into education, training, and application fees. This bill was held in the Senate Appropriations Committee. Staff recommend the CBA retain its watch position. The CBA has already communicated its concerns to the author's office. I'll now turn it back over to the chair.
Thank you very much. Does anyone on the committee have any comments, questions, motions?
Actually, this is Yan Tu. I actually have a question.
Yeah.
So, it's the author of the bill has talked to other people and considering amendment to this bill. Have they indicate that?
Ms. Tu, if I could respond. I'm not sure if the author has discussed amendments, but the bill isn't moving forward, at least as of now. Yeah. So this concept maybe could be introduced, amended into another vehicle, but this particular bill is not moving forward this year. But if there's some additional work you'd like staff to do in terms of finding out or wait until next year, this topic could come back again, we could explore that at that time.
Not at all. Just want to make sure that we have an opportunity to talk to the author of the bill.
And we do send the analysis to all of the authors when it's finalized in here, so they have the full information that you have as well.
Thank you. Does anyone else on the committee have anything to say?
I do not see any other hands up.
All righty, then we'll go to the public, and we'll go to the public in Sacramento. If for those of you who are members of the public in the Sacramento location, if you would like to make a comment, please walk up to the table, wait to be recognized, and then make your comment.
I do not see any public in the Sacramento location.
Very good. Then I'll ask the moderator to open up for public comment to those who aren't in the Sacramento location.
This is the moderator. The Q&A is now open. Instructions are on the screen. No requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Please do. We'll move on to agenda item 4G, and that's SB 1443. May we please have the presentation?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Senate Bill 1443 would extend the sunset date of specified boards, bureaus, and commissions within the Department of Consumer Affairs for an additional year, from January 1st of 2024 to January 1st of 2025. This extension would also apply to the authority for boards and commissions to designate an executive officer. The California Board of Accountancy will fall under the authority of this bill. This bill has not been amended since the March meeting. SB 1443 was heard in the Senate Appropriations Committee today, and it passed. It now heads to the Assembly. Staff recommend the CBA maintain its support position on this bill and no action is necessary. I will now turn it back over to the chair.
Does anyone on the committee have any comments, questions, motions?
I do not see any hands raised from the committee members.
Thank you. Then those of you who are members of the public at the Sacramento location, if you have any comment, please step up to the table, wait to be recognized, and please then give your comment.
Again, no public comment from Sacramento location.
Thank you. And we'll move on to asking the moderator to please open up for public comment on this issue for those who are not at the Sacramento location.
This is the moderator. The Q&A is now open. The instructions are on the screen. For those calling in, just a reminder, *3 to raise your hand. No requests have been submitted. No. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Please.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 5A, Senate Bill 1387. This time the 3 did in fact look like a 3 and not a 7 to a 63-year-old. 1387, may we please have the presentation?
This will be for item 5, which is review and consideration of possible positions on legislation. Senate Bill 1387 was amended after the bill introduction deadline to require that on or before June 1st of 2023, the governor's office convene a working group to discuss and make recommendations on the most effective way to ensure the state's leadership on boards and commissions, to ensure diversity in age, ethnicity, gender identity, disability status, region, veteran status, and sexual orientation, among other things. The bill specifies the composition of the working group, identifies the issues its recommendations shall address, and details information to be reported annually to the legislature and made available to the public on the governor's website. The bill specifies that the working group's first meeting shall be held no later than July 1st of 2023 and to complete its work by July 1st of 2024, before the working group is sunset on December 31st of 2024. This bill was heard in the Senate Appropriations Committee today and passed. It will now head over to the Assembly. Staff recommend the CBA make a motion to take a watch position on this bill. I'll now turn it back over to the chair for questions, comments, and a possible motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let me address the committee members and ask if anyone does have any questions, comments, or a motion. Well, I'll kick it off. Oh, I'm sorry.
Then we do have a member, Ms. Salazar is going to speak first.
Katrina, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I more just have a comment, and I appreciate the consistency between a recommended watch position and the other similar bills, but I'm just going to continue to be a little bit contrarian here and say that for me, I believe it has no impact to CB operations. So I'm going to vote no, just because, again, I just think we should limit our political capital to the things that are directly impactful to operations. So I will vote no, but I just wanted to reiterate the reason why. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I similarly have a contrarian view, and the concept of having underrepresented groups now represented is, I mean, how can you argue against that? And how can you not be for that? I mean, I suppose some idiots could not like that. I choose to think that I'm not an idiot on that point, at least. And However, I think that the answer is in electing enlightened leaders, not in putting things in stone. And because you don't know what's going to happen. So and to give the enlightened leader some elasticity, I think is in fact a good idea. You may not. Sometimes it's hard to recruit from certain, I don't know, not certain areas, but from, it's just hard to find someone who might fit the bill. Anyway, so from that direction, I also think that this is unnecessary. Okay.
Ms. Hine has
Does anyone else have any questions or
yes,
comments?
Ms. Hine has a hands up.
Mary Ann?
I'm going to continue the theme of being a contrarian, and I'm actually going to advocate that our agency take a support position on this bill, communicate a support position on this bill for a couple of reasons. One of them is that because this bill directs the governor to convene a working group to discuss and make recommendations, I think that it is really exactly the kind of action that we want our leaders to take, to do the research and evaluation to determine whether or not there are inequities in the representation that our decision-making bodies, are comprised of, and to do the work to evaluate and to gather the data to then make substantive evidence-based recommendations for action that then the legislature can take and then to be effective. They can identify whether we have gaps, whether we have blind spots, whether we are fully representative on a number of different issues. This is exactly the kind of proaction that we want them to take. Secondly, my reason for suggesting that we take a position on this bill is a little bit of hubris. I think that our board is held in very high esteem in the eyes of the legislature and in the governor's office. And if we were to take a position on a bill, I think that it resonates with others and it makes them, take notice and to, evaluate a little bit more deeply. And also think that it's important for our board to stay present and engaged in the discussions that are being had about really impactful pieces of legislation. So, given the fact that we talked about the bill earlier that had been overruled as being unconstitutional, and we can speculate as to a number of reasons why it was, overturned. I think this bill gives the governor and the legislative leaders an opportunity to do something in a way that can be constitutional and can be valid. And so I would recommend that our committee take a support position and then communicate that support to the governor's office and to the author of the bill. And so with that, I will take a little bit of, I'm going to take some privilege and I'm going to make a motion to adopt a support position and see where it goes.
Carrie Ann, those are excellent arguments, and you've actually swayed me because just because you get some people together to talk about about certain things, maybe that ends up being a report that one of these enlightened leaders can view. Anyways, is there a second to Carrie Ann's motion?
Mr. Chairman, I will do the second for the motion. And the reason why, and Ms. Hine already articulated some of the reason why, but I also, in my dealing with small businesses and so forth in the industry of construction, otherwise, we have to have a baseline. We have to understand what decision we're going to make in the future, and having that disparity study done really provide us the data to see if we are lacking or maybe we're doing a great job. So I would support that motion with a second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any other comments on the motion to support? Ms. Reed, excuse me.
I do not see any other. Oh, there is a hands up from Ms.
Yes. So is there anyone else on the committee who has any comments?
Oh, yes, this is Christian Lotta on the committee.
Oh, hi.
I also support this motion as well. And I just wanted to note, Chair Jacobson, to your comment in regards to it possibly causing a restriction, that it says here that this the appointing authority must take any, or sorry, they must not take any specific action, but it's just providing guidelines for them to improve the diversity. So I don't think it would harm or pigeonhole any appointing authority from choosing someone if they were not able to meet a specific requirement. There's not specific requirements, based on any particular group. So I believe that this does satisfy the core of what the bill is attempting to achieve, which is to have boards that are representative of the general population of the state.
Thank you. Very insightful. So I'm now going to ask for public comment on the motion and on the issue in general. Is there anyone at the Sacramento location who would like to make a comment? If so, please step up to the table, wait to be recognized, and give your comment.
I do not see any public in the Sacramento location.
Thank you. Moderator, could we do the same, please, for those who are not at the Sacramento location?
This is the moderator. The Q&A is now open. Members of the public who are participating via WebEx, the instructions are on the screen. The call-in user, you can press *3 if you would like to participate in public comment. No requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Please do so. Anything else from any members of the committee before we take the roll? Ms. Reed, could you please, I'm calling for a vote. Could you please take the roll?
Dan Jacobson,
Yes.
Carrie Ann Farrell Hines,
Yes.
Christian Lotta,
Yes.
Katrina Salazar,
Respectfully, no.
and Yin Tu.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to item 6. And we have a presentation on item 6. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Item 6 is the review and possible consideration of positions on legislation the California Board of Accountancy is monitoring. Staff continue to monitor the bills listed, and if any are amended in a way that directly impact the CBA, an analysis will be prepared and presented at a future meeting. There is no action needed on this item, and that concludes my presentation. I will now turn it back to Chair Jacobson for any questions or discussion.
And indeed, thank you. And indeed, I ask the members of the committee, is there any discussion or questions?
I do not see any comment from the committee members.
Then thank you. Then we'll ask the members of the public who are at the Sacramento location. If you have any comment on this issue, please step forward to the table, wait to be recognized, and make your comment.
There is no public from the Sacramento location.
Will the moderator please open up for public comment to those who aren't in Sacramento?
The Q&A is now open. Those participating on WebEx, you can see the instructions on the screen. Those calling in, you can raise your hand by clicking *3. No requests. Would you like me to close the Q&A?
I'd appreciate it. Item 7 is agenda items for next meeting. Does anyone on the committee have any suggestions for agendizing anything else for the next meeting?
I do not see any member of the committee raising hand.
Thank you. Is there anyone at the Sacramento location, any member of the public, who has a comment on this? If so, please step forward to the table, wait to be recognized, and give your comment.
There's no public in the Sacramento location.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to asking the moderator to please open up this issue to those who aren't at the Sacramento location.
This
Will
is
the
the
moderator-
moderator.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
This is. I didn't realize I didn't unmute myself. The Q&A is now open. Members of the public online, you can. The instructions are on the screen. The calling user, you can press *3 to raise your hand. No requests. Would you like me to close the Q&A?
I'd appreciate it. And moderator, it's about 8-1 with me winning with the 8 on the screw ups in what I'm saying. So sorry, you lost that one. Any other comments from the committee members?
I do not see any.
I want to thank everyone. I want to welcome again Christian, and I want to adjourn this meeting.